Today we are blessed that Rinpoche is in our midst, communicating the essence of the Dharma to us in all its authenticity and in a way that is profoundly relevant to the modern times. Sogyal Rinpoche needs no introduction for the most of us, but for the benefit of the newcomers here, I would like to give a brief introduction. Born in Kham, in eastern Tibet, Rinpoche was recognized as the incarnation of Lerab Lingpa Tirton Sogyal, a teacher to the 13th Dalai Lama, by Jamyang Khyentse Chukki Lodro, one of the most outstanding masters of the 20th century. Sogyal Rinpoche's training and spiritual development was supervised by the late Jamyang Khyentse, who raised him like his own son. Thereafter, Rinpoche continued to study under many masters, most notably Jabje Dilgo Khyentse Rinpoche and Jabje Dujung Rinpoche. Rinpoche then served as a translator and aide to Jabje Dujung Rinpoche for many years and subsequently began teaching under his guidance. Rinpoche is also the author of the highly acclaimed and groundbreaking book, the Tibetan Book of Living and Dying. 2 million copies of the spiritual classic has been sold in 30 languages and 59 countries. It has been adopted by colleges, groups, and institutions, both medical and religious, and is used extensively by nurses, doctors, and healthcare professionals. Rinpoche is also the founder and spiritual director of Rigpa, an international network of 106 Buddhist centers and groups in 23 countries. Rinpoche has been teaching for over 30 years and continues to travel extensively in Europe, America, Australia, and Asia. In this two-day teachings, Rinpoche will outline the essential fundamental principles of the Buddhist teaching. In particular, the importance of mind training through meditation, along with the heart of the practice of the 3 yanas, or Thekpasum, the principle of refuge, the heart of the practice of the basic yana, Bodhicitta, or Changchup Gesem, the heart of the practice of the Mahayana, and Guru Yoga, or Lama Naljur, the heart of Vajrayana practice. In addition, Rinpoche might touch on other topics if time permits. And finally, may the field of merit of all of us gathered here enable masters like Rinpoche to keep coming here to teach us, to dispel all our confusion and neurosis, and to strengthen our faith and practice in the Buddha Dharma.
First of all, I would like to very much thank the organizers, you see, Tsering Wangchuk, Sengye Doji, and Punso Rabge, and the director of RIM, which is the Royal Institute of Management, Sonam Punso, who kindly allowed us to use this hall. And I just wanted to really kind of welcome you all friends. I think I've been here for a few days and that I've come to meet many and really come to understand a little bit what's happening here in Bhutan. So let me get down to the teaching straight away. I think first of all, I want to say that how much I am moved and touched by the fact that so many people have shown so much enthusiasm. In fact, many people have told me, and really, I was just amazed by how much the Tibetan Book of Living and Dying has really touched them, and for many, it has really changed their life. In fact, just yesterday, I heard a friend of mine who went to a music festival, and there in India, in Delhi, and met a cameraman who said he read my book and it changed complete his life. And whenever I hear that, it really humbles me, and particularly when you really understand the teaching. I remember once in Philadelphia, a woman came up to me and said, I don't know how you did it, but the book loved me completely. Because the teaching is about love. You see, the love and the compassion of Buddhists coming to us. You understand? So in that, really I'm moved. And then Bhutan is very sacred to my heart. It's one of the most sacred places, perhaps one of the most Pure Lands at the moment. And really independent Buddhist country with its really incredible culture and tradition. So it's something that I always, whenever I come, I'm really moved. Particularly many of the Nairs here are really unspoiled and undisturbed. I think that's something very important. And I'm also very grateful to the Queen Mother, Her Majesty. She's always been very kind whenever I come here. Anyway, today I shall lay out the groundwork of the basic principle of the teaching of the Buddha in a very practical way. I'm not going to go into more details of like the Four Noble Truths, but really give you the basis of, because you see, myself, I'm neither learned nor I'm realized anyway, but I had the great good fortune to have been brought up by some of the greatest masters, such as Jamgon Khyentse Chugdlodru, who was the greatest master in Tibet, really. His students rang among Thimphu Khyentse Rinpoche and many, many others. All the great masters who are now here are his students. So he brought me up like his own son. And then later, Dujun Rinpoche, you see, kind of really kept me under his guidance, and really I serve as translator. It was he who taught me how to teach. In fact, I remember every day, every morning, every day, he will introduce the nature mind. Semji, nelu, ngotu, again and again, again, again. And that really is something that really made me, how do you say, really had a profound effect. Then later, Thimphu Khyentse Rinpoche also, who became my really principal teacher. So all these great masters, and of course, Jojin Khyentse, and many others. So what I'm sharing with you is what I've learned from them, or the quintessence of their teachings. You know, you understand the direct method of how to realize the essence of the teaching. So anyway, today I'm going to talk about the nature of mind, or the mind and nature of mind. It's very important. And the meditation to realize that. Clear? And then tomorrow, this is actually, there's quite a lot in that. And tomorrow I wanted to really share with you, if you agree, talk about refuge, Gamdo. And then Semke, Chanchuch Sem. How to develop compassion. And then the most important thing is what's called Guru Yoga or Lemon Angel, which is the heart of Vajrayana. In fact, these three are the essence of the three vehicles of teaching of Buddha. Basic vehicle. By the way, word Hinayana is not politically correct. Because particularly in Tibet we can say, or others we could say Hinayana, but now we are living with a lot of Theravada people. So Hinayana is not so good to use. It's better to use the word basic vehicle, or the root yana. And then the Mahayana, or the Bodhisattva vehicle, and the Vajrayana. You understand? And the essence of them is the refuge is the essence of the basic vehicle, and the Bodhicitta or Chanchuch Semche is the essence of the Mahayana, and then Guru Yoga is the heart of Vajrayana practice. Let me know. So I want to share that with you tomorrow. By the way, I would like to ask you, because this is a very special kind of teaching, at a certain point I will ask you to listen in a slightly different way, because this is not a talk. You got it? This is not a talk. It's actually a direct teaching. It's called pointing out mind instruction. Very much in that way. So therefore, when you listen, it's very important not to only listen with your ears, but listen with your eyes. And listen with your body, listen with your mind, and listen with your heart. You see? In fact, if you do that, that itself is meditation. Because what is meditation? Is a state of non-distraction. If you really non-distractedly listen to the words of the teachings and focus on the teacher, the gesture and the movement, and particularly if you really connect with his mind and your heart open, then you hear more than the words. Is that clear? Do you understand me? Now, let me begin. Very simply, regardless of who we are, the main purpose of our life you could call the heart of being human is to be happy. It is interesting that recently in the Western media, we have been reminded that happiness in most industrial countries is equated with money. The gross domestic product, which is sometimes known as GDP, is routinely used as a shorthand for the well-being of a nation. But some years ago, the fourth king of Bhutan, His Majesty the Jigme Sengye Wangchuk, took the world by surprise by declaring that the national policy was aimed at not increasing the gross domestic product, but at increasing the gross national happiness. This idea has inspired many forward thinkers and has served as a catalyst for engagement in broader discussions of national well-being. Recently, around the world, a growing number of economists, social scientists, corporate leaders, and bureaucrats are trying to develop measurements that take into account not just the flow of money, but also access to healthcare, free time with family, conservation of natural resources, and other non-economic factors. The goal, according to many involved in this effort, is in part to return to a richer definition of the word happiness. Because it's interesting, if you look at the definition of happiness in the 17th and 18th century in the West, it was an expression, happiness was an expression of public good or public welfare, of the contentment of the people. However, you see how different this is from the 20th century Disneyland theory that happiness is just a bright white smile. Now, if you look closely, you see, there are two kinds of happiness. One is based on physical comfort. You can call happiness of pleasure or happiness of senses. The other is founded on a deeper mental contentment. In our language we call chokshe. In fact, interesting, the first one based on material comfort, is very expensive and often doesn't satisfy you. Whereas the second, which is based on mental inner peace and contentment, is very cheap and very lasting. In fact, I want to share with you a few quotes. For example, the ancient Greek philosopher Socrates said, "Contentment is the natural wealth. Luxury is artificial poverty." Or Shakespeare said, "My crown is in my heart, not on my head. Not decked with diamonds or Indian stones. Not to be seen, my crown is called content. A crown, it is that seldom kings enjoy." As Buddha said also in Dhammapada, which is one of the most important scriptures, in that he said, contentment is the most excellent wealth. And also the great Indian master, Nagarjuna, Sogyal Rinpoche, who is only second to Buddha, said in a letter to a friend, he said, "There is no treasure like contentment." But more fully he said, "Of all the types of wealth, it is contentment, which was said by the teacher of gods and men," that's the Buddha, "to be the most supreme. Strive for contentment, and should you achieve it, even without material wealth, you will truly have found your fortune." So if we have, therefore, the deeper inner peace and contentment, then even when we go through physical suffering, our mind can still be happy. This explains how that there are some people who can have every material advantage and yet remain dissatisfied and discontent, whilst there are others who are always satisfied and content even amid the most difficult circumstances. An example that His Holiness Dalai Lama used once. He said that if your mind is messed up, you might be living in one of the greatest apartments in New York on the 100th floor overlooking the Central Park West, which is one of the best. But if mind is messed up, only thing you're looking for is a window to jump out. In fact, you could say that the principal characteristic of genuine happiness is inner peace and contentment. If we have contentment and inner peace as basis, you see, as a ground of being, as a base of mind, you will be relaxed and deeply at ease. Then, no matter what difficulties or crises you encounter, you will not be disturbed. Your basic sense of well-being will not be undermined. As a result, you'll be able to carry on your everyday life, your work, your responsibility more efficiently. And your mind will also have the wisdom to discern what to do, what not to do. In turn, your life will become happier, and when difficulties rise also, you will even be able to turn them to your advantage. So, for your own inner peace, taking care of your mind and heart is crucial. Once your own mind is more at peace, then both inner and outer harmony will automatically rise or automatically follow. Also, you will have deeper appreciation of ethics, social responsibility, and social action. In fact, it is said by the great master of the past that it is the foolish that go for looking for happiness outside of themselves. Because once we go looking for happiness out of yourself, then you have no control. Whereas the wise and the learned know that all the happiness and cause of happiness is in our mind. Because mind is something extraordinary. That it is, you see, if you know your mind well, you see, if you come to realize your mind and know and understand your mind, it could be your greatest friend. Whereas if you do not understand, it becomes your worst enemy. Clear? Now, I want to really give you some basis of the teaching of Buddha. In fact, as you know, you see, teaching of Buddha, Thimphu Khenchen Rinpoche always used to say, teaching of Buddha is vast and profound. Sabji Jachewa in Tibetan. Vast is like, you know, if you look into the word of the Buddha, just the word of Buddha, Sangyeka, you know, it's 108 volumes, Kangyur. Not to talk about the work of the great Indian master, which are over 200 volumes. So if you were to have, you know, in a hotel, you know, in the West, you always have a Bible there, isn't it? So if you try to have a Buddhist Bible, the whole half room will be filled up. In fact, often, even the many monasteries, the small monasteries, have not have this entire word of the Buddha. Anyway, so it's very vast. You see, so that the vast way is the way of the Pandit and the learned. Whereas what's wonderful for us is it's vast but also profound, the profound part of the yogi. So in this respect, I'm not going to talk about the vast way, so you don't worry, okay? That when Buddha was asked, what is the essence of teachings? What's amazing about teaching Buddha, it can be so vast, but also it can be summed up into just 3 points or 4 lines. And Buddha said, when he was asked, what is the essence of teaching? He said, Dikpachum Mijashi Gewapusun Sopache, Rangasem Yonsundul, Dunsangit Dembai. You understand? That, when you translate into English, is commit not a single unwholesome action. Dikpachum Mijashi, commit not a single unwholesome action. Gewapusun Sopache means cultivate a wealth of virtue. Rangasem Yonsundul is to tame, to conquer, to transform this mind of ours. This is the teaching of the Buddhas. In fact, Kyabje Tingul Khyentse Rinpoche used to say that a very learned master can enumerate from these 3 lines the 100th volume of the word of Buddha. Whereas also that these 3 lines embody the basic teachings of what's called 3 yanas or tekpasum. The commit not a single unwholesome action is the basic vehicle. In fact, when you talk about first turning of the wheel of the Dharma by Buddha at Saranat, when he taught him the Four Noble Truths, is embodied in the first line. And the second is at the Rajagir, at the Vulture Peak Mountain, when we taught on the present paramita. That is embodied, you can say roughly, in the second line, cultivate the wealth of virtue. And the last, then in many unknown places, Buddha taught the secret mantra Vajrayana, that is embodied in the last. In fact, also to put it very simply, you know these 3 things, the basic vehicle, the Mahayana or Bodhisattva vehicle, or Tekpa Chenpo, and then the Sangha Doji Tekpa or secret mantra Vajrayana. Actually, if you put it very simply, it's peace. Essence of that is peace. Said peace, compassion, and wisdom. Peace, compassion, and wisdom.